Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a bit of a dip. Bitcoin down to about 59,000, down approximately 3%, and Ethereum also down approximately 3% below the $2,500 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are also falling to lower levels. We have a few dips: Solana, AVAX, New York Protocol, and many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that has been selling off. However, the sell pressure is over and it could be reaching its bottom, and that project is called Joystream. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. We see the overall market cap kind of going sideways. Okay, that's a good thing. We want to see market cap kind of hold steady. We have been seeing a bit of weakness in the last little while, but all good because, you know, this is the way the market works, you know, peaks and valleys, but we're still holding sideways via market cap. We see the trading volume, you know, maybe in a slight increase at the current moment, you know, but has been coming down. No trading volume in the last little while. Guys, as we lead into the weekend, as we get into the weekend, we could see that the timing for the market is really off. Order books are thinner than expected and even usual, because as we have a low volume market, the order books are thin anyhow, and on the weekend they even get worse. So you know that the volatility gets really real. The volatility gets hectic out there. So be very careful over the weekend, where the volume is extremely low and the order books are super thin. I think the best time for the weekend is the time for yourself, for family, you know, to kind of recharge, and let's get back in it again next week. But of course, if there are any opportunities throughout the weekend, guys, take full advantage. If we keep on coming down, we could be hitting some good support zones, and then all of a sudden by Monday we start filling CME gaps and we get that bounce. So this is why the weekend is good to kind of hang back, but at the same time keep one eye open for sure. Bitcoin kind of going sideways, you know, it is taking a bit of a dip, but structurally speaking it's still sideways. So is Ethereum. So although it does look a little bad right now as we speak, it's not as bad as, you know, it really is, because Bitcoin is still sideways and so on. Now if we look at Solana, it looks worse. Obviously it's making lower lows and lower highs, still grinding to the downside, but you can see like the major altcoin, the top three cryptos in this sense, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even BNB, they're going sideways very nicely. Solana is the only one right now in this at the top tier that are slowly grinding down. Even XRP a little bit lower than the previous low, but still kind of sideways, and that's the name of the game, right? Even Doge is kind of going sideways. Toncoin is sideways. A lot of sideways price action with a tad bias to the downside, but really there's nothing really to be majorly fearful. So let's continue going down. Caspa showing a bit of strength, you know, grinding upwards. Yes, it's down at 1%, but we're talking about very short-term time frame type of volatility. And if we keep on going down, even New York Protocol in fact is really undervalued right now. It's definitely coming down. It's down 10%. Not a good look. I think it may have been propped up with the earnings expectations of Nvidia, and then obviously the news came out, and then now what are we looking forward to? Probably nothing in the next little while. So the market tends to say, you know what, I'm going to just kind of pull out, take my profit, walk away, and wait for New York Protocol to wake up again. And New York Protocol right now is taking a bit of a dip. It's definitely down double digits. So take full advantage, I guess. Just start DCing, look for horizontal levels, look for nice signs of divergence where the bears are showing weakness, and start scaling in. Monero's right now doing its own thing. It's up 1% while the rest of the market looking a little weak. We can see, you know, it is at least grinding to the upside with some strength here. Not bad of a scenario, no doubt. Grinding up is something that we kind of want to see ultimately. And as we keep on going down, we do see dips dips, you know, a lot of retracement stacks coming down, even FET down 12%, and there are some double digits. Render taking a big hit, even BitTensor Tau taking a bit of a hit. So these are opportunities, guys. We're getting to that double digit state. Now the question is, do we see a red September? I know statistically speaking, we have seen Septembers be you know, fairly red, you know, based on probability. Just keep in mind that the halving already has taken place. We're waiting for the supply shock to hit, and then all of a sudden we could see a rise. So maybe September is red. Maybe it's not a big red, you know, a lot of red. Maybe it's even sideways, right? Or maybe it even fakes us out and it becomes green. What I'm trying to say is that of all the Septembers, the September after the halving is not one to play around with. It's not the one to actually be so convicted with, right? Keep neutral. Keep with the mindset that it's very possible that it becomes a fake out scenario. Very possible that at least we go sideways. It's very possible that maybe we do dip, but maybe it's not major. So we got to keep an eye on the fact that this September, I know it's cliche to say it's different, but it literally is. It's the September after the halving. It only happens, this September only happens every 4 years. So let's keep in mind that this September could be slightly different than previous Septembers. We've already experienced, you know, 3 red Septembers, let's say hypothetically, and then all of a sudden now this one could be slightly different based on the halving expectation. Of course, the supply shock. Now, if we continue going down, we see BitGet kind of rising. I'm going to kind of look at all the exchange tokens in a second. We see BitGet rising. What else do we see? We see KuCoin rising, and we see Gate also rising. Beautiful indication that we've used last time to suggest that the market is coming back in. So we did come down, obviously, but prior to this dip that you see right here on Gate and KuCoin and the rest, we actually saw KuCoin and the exchange tokens, the centralized exchange tokens, show strength. And then we got that nice 20% rally up, which is really interesting because there's a correlation between centralized exchange tokens and the actual market and the market participation. Why do you think people are holding exchange tokens? Just ask yourself that question. It's because they're getting active on exchanges again, and they want to get active. They want to earn rewards, whether it be, you know, lower fees or airdrops or whatever the case is, depending on the exchange. But at least that's an indication that there are people getting on exchanges again to get active, and that's a sign of volume that is going to be potentially coming in. And as we see Tether USDTs being minted, we know that eventually those tokens are also going to hit the market, and we're going to see a bit of volatility there with regards to that pressure. So we could see a bit of pressure in the next little while to at least get out of this transitionary phase. And this is something that I've been talking about maybe for the last week regarding transitionary phase. The transitionary phase from bearish to bullish is one that is very difficult. It is usually where the hardest times are to trade. It's hard mode time right now because the market is going from bearish to bullish, and in that transition where we slowly round to the upside and we slowly make that bottom level where we go sideways, we're stuck in the chop zone. Tons of whipsaw price action, tons of people getting wrecked, tons of over leverage, tons of impatience and emotional trading gets happening in that level. And this is why I am here with you guys every single day doing videos, trying to keep up with the market, trying to stay one step ahead. And if you appreciate it, make sure you subscribe, click the bell, and obviously slap the like button, guys. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at Bitcoin for a quick analysis, and then we'll talk about Joystream, because Joystream is one of those examples that at this current moment it doesn't really care about what's happening with the market, and I'll explain why in a second. Bitcoin, really, let's get these oscillators out of the way for a second. Right now at this current moment it's looking super bearish, guys. Prepare for a dip. It looks like it's falling. Now I do see the fact that it did come down to this level before, multiple wicks, multiple times, and did get some support and did eventually get a bounce. So the question is, where do we get the bounce? We get bounce at $57,125. That's very possible. Maybe a little bit lower down to the wick. That's also very possible. Maybe we come down to these bodies right here and we get a bounce, or maybe down here we get a bounce, or maybe you can see the ambiguity right now. What I do find interesting, where there's a little bit less ambiguity, is at about $56,500. That's where the ambiguity starts to diminish for me, because we start to introduce more probability, more statistical evidence that we could get some support based on the volume gap into this level. And if we do not hold 56,500, something like that, give or take. The next level that I'm going to be looking at is 52,600. If we start breaking below 52,600 with conviction and volume, guys, we're falling down. We're coming down to 44. So until we actually get some signs of support, I have no choice but right now to be very bearish and get defensive. If you're in some positions that are profitable, short-term positions, take some profit, trail up a stop loss. If you do not have dry powder on the side or do not have enough and you feel like you don't have enough stables ready to deploy at lower levels, now is the time to raise a bit of capital just in case. It's just an insurance policy that if we get those double-digit dips with great opportunities, that you have some dry powder to deploy and be able to scale in. Okay, so just keep in mind, although this is still big picture a very bullish structure, it is a broadening descending wedge that statistically speaking should break out bullish. In the short term, as you can see, we're coming down. We're seeing a bit of a dip here throughout the market, and we're questioning where Bitcoin is going to be holding that support. Guys, we've been coming down like this for the last little while, and we've been going up for the last little while. The only issue is that we're making lower lows and lower highs, but big picture, the structure is just a retracement for continuation, and I'm hoping that eventually comes through. Remember the thesis about September, the thesis about the fact that we're dripping down here, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt as we break horizontals could cause an over-exaggeration in bearishness, and eventually that capitulation could be the last one before we spring to the upside and start moving. So I'm keeping an eye on it, but guess what, guys? I'm not really active on Bitcoin at the current moment. I'm very active looking into the altcoin market, keeping an eye on Ethereum. Ethereum right now is dipping down a little bit more, and this is why the current Bitcoin dominance is in the Bitcoin's favor at the current moment. But of course, we'll talk about that live tonight at 8 p.m. EST. Feel free to join, guys, and that is a great time and place for you to make any requests on projects that you want me to take a look at. We'll do our analysis, figure out entries, setups, and so on. But right now, Bitcoin is the one to kind of like just let it simmer, let it figure out which way it wants to go, and then we can make some real decisions. Now, speaking of altcoins, opportunities do present themselves, and they present themselves when things go quiet. And a lot of the times when things go quiet, especially when you see the heavyweights like Bitcoin and ETH showing a bit of volatility, and you see an altcoin go pretty much stagnant or sideways, it means that the altcoin has no more emotion left into it. It's basically numb. Let's take a look at Joystream. And Joystream is definitely one of those scenarios. Guys, full disclosure, I am an ambassador of the Joystream project. Basically, Gleave, I post all my videos on Gleave. They're all the videos that I do create are posted there. I mint them as NFTs, and it is a great platform for decentralized distribution of media. So feel free to check it out. I have links in the description. And if you want to see just to see what it is, just to see what kind of alternatives or Web3 applications there are out there for you, just go check it out. It's free. There's no obligation, but I do feel like it's a viable option, especially in this environment where, freedom of speech is definitely being questioned. All right, let's take a look at Joystream. Joystream chart right now is quite interesting. Why? Is because despite what Bitcoin, Ethereum has been doing in the last little while, guys, look at the price action in the short term, right? Look at these daily candles. Reflect on what has been happening on Bitcoin. Even reflect on what's happening right now with Bitcoin. You can see that the price is not really flinching too much. Yes, it's a sign of strength in the short term, and you might say, but Mike, this chart looks like trash, and I agree, it does look pretty bad. It came straight up and straight down, pump and dump, but guess what? It has fundamentals. It's got value. It has a proposition that not many other projects have to offer, which is decentralization of media. And I feel like the utility in the overall value proposition is something that we are willing to kind of like look at as a solution to an everyday problem that we have. So I feel like it's a great project from that perspective. And when you look at the price, it does look undervalued. It does, based on what it's trying to achieve. Now, it has EVM. It's rolling out with the EVM compatibility, which is good because it has its own layer 1. The Joystream project is a layer 1, and you can build applications that are geared towards decentralized media. You can make your own Gleave application, which is very interesting. It's built on the substrate of Polkadot, so it has its interoperability amongst the parachains, which is great. And now that it's EVM compatible, it also has its interoperability throughout the Ethereum ecosystem. I gotta check out if it actually was released or not, or the progress, but it's definitely in the works, and it's definitely something that they're working on. So the team is definitely hustling, even though the price is coming down, which is good. This is what we need. And what I'm trying to get to is as that all is happening in the background, and we see Bitcoin and Ethereum pushing down and going up and going down for so many times already, the Joystream price is pretty much done. It's not really moving anymore, and it's because there's no more sellers. And in fact, there's really any buyers either at this current moment. We got to be honest, right? We're getting very low volume, very stagnant price. And this is the perfect opportunity to see Joystream hit its floor price. And what I like to refer to a floor price as is a level of which there's nothing happening with price anymore. No sellers and no buyers. And that's the calm before the storm, right? That's an area where you can get in at an equilibrium, at a price where, it hit a level that there's no volatility and it's very comfortable. It's a great place to DCA. It's a great place to get in where there's not much volatility, where you're afraid of your investment going up and down like crazy and potentially dumping. And it would be nice to get in at a horizontal level that you can put some trust in, some, of course, not certainties, just some trust that we're not coming down any further, and treat it as an opportunity rather than a weakness. Going sideways price action has its value, right? And its value is security, peace of mind. If we go sideways for a little bit here, we're going to get that floor price where we can slowly accumulate little by little and then put a stop loss underneath it, and then feel like we can accumulate here in comfort without crazy wicks and whipsaw price action. And that's the benefit of buying bottoms, buying retracements that are back to levels where liquidity is being hunted. So this is something that we really need to discuss, is where's the liquidity at? And this is something that I really do focus on significantly, because that's where the emotions are. The reality is a lot of the emotions are right here, okay, where we're contending right now. We have a volume gap, an empty space. So let me drag this over, which has very little volume once you're in the space. Once you're in the volume gap and you're falling through and you're falling below it, things get a bit hectic because you can fall right through it real quick. And then the next area of emotion is down here, unfortunately, all the way down here. And this is where we get into a very, very, very depressive state, because this is where early investors got in. This is where a lot of new, older stakeholders basically are holding the token and thought that they were untouchable, and the market tends to want to basically induce pain. So I ask you again, where is the max pain scenario? In fact, the volume that is right in here represents a lot of pain, right? If we do come down here and continue hunting liquidity, that's very possible that we do see a lot of pain. And of course, if we fall through the volume gap and come here and find the bottom down here, there's a lot of pain. So this is what I would say with Joystream. Obviously, the price is still making lower lows and lower highs. We got to be very clear that that's the risk you take getting in right now, is that you're trying to get in on a trend reversal, and we're trying to maybe think about trying to catch this falling knife. Before I get into what I would be doing here, let's take a look at the oscillators for a second. You can see that the oscillators are showing us divergence, and there's a lot of divergence happening across the market, not just Joystream. Across the market, we're getting slow and steady divergence on a lot of projects, which is healthy, because that's how we're seeing or getting evidence that the bears are slowly showing weakness every time it impulses to the downside. Let me just quickly put this in right here for a second, and let me just show you, every time we impulse to the downside with an expansion, each expansion is getting smaller and smaller, and as the price is coming down, that's divergence. That's class A bullish divergence, okay? And then in addition to that, we also have a scenario where we're seeing the momentum, the purple line, slowly grinding to the upside, which suggests again another class A divergence. Every time the price is coming down, the momentum is slowly shifting to the upside. So the question is, when do we actually get follow through for this divergence? We're pretty much getting 3 drives of bullish divergence without any follow through just yet. So it's a matter of time. And 3 drives is usually enough, right? Sometimes it's just, and 2 is enough. 3 is just like, okay, went a little bit too far. A couple people got wrecked on the next dip. Okay, that's fine. But now we need a bit of follow through. We already hunted some liquidity. We went down to the extreme zones. We got some emotional individuals. Now it's done. 3 drives, statistically speaking, there's a 90% chance that we're not getting another one after this. We are waiting for the follow through. However, it could still invalidate. It's very possible that we see that the divergence come down back to oversold conditions and see another lower low. So we just got to be careful, because the price action is king, first of all, and the price action is not giving us an indication of a change of character, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, if you look at the trend oscillator, the trend oscillator is doing great as well. As the price is coming down, clearly seen by the horizontal, the diagonal to the downside, we do see each expansion, again, very similar to the momentum oscillator. The expansions are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you can see that we're getting divergence, divergence, divergence everywhere. The oscillator is doing a great job showing us that ultimately that we're getting a scenario where we're seeing the bears lose weakness as the price is coming down. The trend is slowly trying to shift to the bullish control zone, where we get to the top half of the oscillator, where we get the nice bullish expansions, right? This is what we want to do. We were on the top end for so long, then all of a sudden we come down, we're in the bottom end, and now do we get back to the top end and finally get the impulsive to the upside? And again, that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for this to slowly shift to the upside. So this is a good segue into looking into what should we do next. Ultimately, look at the price action. Is the price action giving you any indication, any whatsoever, that the price is ready to reverse? None. We're still making lower lows and lower highs. There is divergence. That's a good sign. But what we should be looking for is a structural change, a change of character, in the sense that instead of making lower lows and lower highs, maybe we come up, we make a double top of some sort. Maybe we come down and make a higher low. That would be great. Something like that. And then we come up and touch the neckline again, and we start looking at this as an inverse head and shoulder. Possible. Great stuff. What about if we come up and make a higher high in one go, get rejected right around the 200 daily? That's fine. Something around here, we get rejected right around this zone, we come down, we make a higher low, and we already had our higher high, and perfect change of character right into here. You can see the pivots, you can see how beautiful these are. These happen all the time. These are structures that I wait for. I wait patiently for these setups, and that's when I start to deploy. What about if we make a lower high, but then we come down for a higher low, and then we go up for another higher high, and then we start to see that this is starting to be more complex? That's fine, with multiple little shoulders and peaks and valleys along the way, but ultimately eventually picking up some more bullish bids to move to the upside. And even after a bit of a sideways price action for a handle into a cup and handle or something like that, that is also very possible. Coming up, flagging out, bull flag, continuation. We need something. The summary of what I'm trying to say here is the price action is not giving us any signal that it's done pushing down, other than the oscillators giving us senses of bullish divergence, which are great opportunities to actually put Joystream on a watch list, to wait for those structural change of character structures to happen. And then when they do happen, you can get in with a bit more confidence. Would I be deploying capital right now? To be honest, small bags only. If you feel like you like the fundamentals, and of course I would suggest that you do a bit of research, do that deep dive, go on the Gleave website to see as an example what Joystream is capable of creating. Remember, it is a layer 1, and you can build decentralized applications using the Joystream, let's say, template, let's put it that way. And then from there, you can make your own iterations of Gleave per se. And right now they have Gleave as an example. Go check it out. Go see what kind of videos are being posted. They're really trying to, provide an alternative for distributing a decentralized platform for distributing media, which is good. But ultimately, where's the price going to hold? And all of that could be bullish based on fundamentals, but the price is not giving us a horizontal yet. So what we have to understand is any position that you get into right now, you're putting yourself at a bit of risk, but at least you're not buying tops. That's one thing that you got to rest assured, guys. You're not buying tops. The top is way up there, as you can see. Okay, so you're not buying tops, number one, and you're slowly trying to build a position into this bottom. And I know that theory of don't try to catch a falling knife, but that really pertains when you go all in. If you go in slow and steady, 10%, 10%, 10% as it builds the structure, really you're not trying to catch the falling knife. What you're trying to is dollar cost average within a general zone, and hopefully you can build a position at a level where you do get all the confirmations for that pivot point structure. And I believe Joystream is very close to having it. Now, what I would be ready to expect is some support right where we are right now, and maybe get that rollover over time, and in fact maybe even fall through the volume gap down here to about 0.003. Okay, if it does come down there, guys, that's where you got to be ready to deploy more capital. And unfortunately, that's the name of the game, guys. You always have a bit of reserve for the worst case scenario. We hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's of course how profitable traders, think about markets. The market doesn't promise you anything, but until we get that structure, prepare for the worst, and it could be that we come down to about 0.003. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.